Hello and welcome to the Unconditional Joy Podcast. I'm your host Supreet and I'm so glad you're here. Since I started practicing Michael Singer's teachings, I have been on a quest towards unconditional joy. I'm not there yet, but I can feel myself making progress every day by doing the inner work, by embracing surrender, and by rewiring my brain essentially. And let me tell you, it is a whole new way of living life, and it is pretty much the opposite of how most people live. Doing this inner work is not easy, but it is so worth it because if we can be joyful no matter what can be more liberating than that? But let's be clear, this is not about renouncing everything. We don't have to give up our relationships, career, goals, or vacations. This is about spirituality without renunciation. We are talking about a way to go spiritually while still fully engaging in life. This is spirituality for regular people with regular lives living in today's world, people like you and me. Most people only feel joy when things go their way, when events, people, and situations align with their preferences. This is conditional joy. But the moment life doesn't cooperate, they suffer. And then to avoid that suffering, they numb themselves with food, alcohol, shopping, social media, or endless busyness. I know this cycle all too well because I lived most of my life in this way. But then I began to ask, is there a better way? Do I have to accept that life is suffering? Am I going to spend my whole life chasing the next thing that I think will make me happy? I started looking for answers and found glimpses of them in spiritual books and teachers, but my biggest transformation happened when I came across Michael Singer's teachings. His book, The Surrender Experiment, totally transformed my understanding of surrender. I feel that surrender is one of the most misunderstood spiritual concepts. Surrender does not mean giving up. Surrender does not mean I'm going to sit down and do nothing. Surrender means flowing with life instead of fighting it. It means letting go of our rigid attachments and expectations. It means that instead of trying to control everything, we get curious about where is life leading us. We still take action, but we take it from a place of trust, not resistance. Michael Singer's own story is a beautiful example of this. When he decided to do his surrender experiment and stop using the preferences of his mind to make decisions and instead just flow with life, amazing and unexpected things began to happen in his life. And one of these things was building a $1 billion business without ever chasing that goal. Had he tried to force his way to success, this likely would not have happened. Reading the Surrender Experiment inspired me to take my own baby steps towards surrender. I am still a work in progress. I have a long way to go, but I can already feel a transformation happening. I feel lighter. I enjoy life more. Things that used to bother me a lot bother me less or not at all. And I suffer less when things don't go my way. If you're someone who wants to suffer less, live with ease, and enjoy life more, this podcast is for you. If you're ready to do the inner work required to find real freedom and joy, this podcast is for you. What you can expect from future episodes are stories from my personal journey, both struggles and breakthroughs, real-life applications of spiritual practices in areas like parenting, relationships, and work, less theory and more practical tools for living with more ease and less resistance. For now, this will be a solo podcast, but in future, I would love to have guests and have deep, engaging conversations with them on these topics. If you or someone you know would be a great fit for this podcast, DM me on Instagram at Unconditional Joy Podcast. I recommend listening to episodes in order, starting with this first one. That way, we can build a foundation and then go deeper and build concepts one by one. I'd love for you to join me on this journey. Let's explore what it truly means to live with unconditional joy.